Hello there, channel members, friends, and followers from around the world. This is Q8 Pilot, your host for tonight's show. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be flying from Nelson to Auckland Airport in beautiful New Zealand aboard the ATR 72-600. Want to welcome all of you guys to this live stream. Omari Joseph, hello, my friend. Welcome. Rand Cooley, hello, my friend. Welcome. Glad to have you here this evening. Alex, hello, Alex. Welcome on board, my friend. Glad to have you here with us. And we have also Ryan. Ryan, how have you been, my friend? I hope all is well. I hope you guys are having a beautiful Saturday evening. It is rather warm here in Kuwait today, and it feels like I've been away from streaming forever. I've had quite a week. It was a very busy week at work. And the weekend was also quite eventful, as we have a major activity at work. So that is the reason I had to cancel the stream yesterday. I just felt too stressed out to be doing anything. So today we're going to be flying this ATR again, based on popular vote. And yeah, it's a nice aircraft. I think it is definitely worth its price. And we're going to take it for, I think, the third or the fourth flight now. But it should be fun. And the route to Auckland is quite scenic as well. I like Airbus. How are you doing, my friend? Welcome. Glad to have you here. And let's get things started, folks. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be taking a look at our flight plan. So we're going to come here to Navigraph charts. I'm going to maximize the view so you guys can follow along. We are going to be departing Nelson to Auckland. And we're going to be doing so through runway 023, the Limo to Papa departure. Transition through Snapper, and then we're going to be arriving through the Pepe transition into the Papa 9 Charlie arrival, runway 23 left at Auckland. Should be interesting flight and an interesting approach into Auckland, where the weather is normally not very good. So we can expect a lot of turbulence and a lot of crosswind as we arrive into our destination. So that's our flight today, and we can also fetch our sim brief plan and take a look at some of the information here. We are New Zealand Air 5 flight 5068, and we can see the airport elevation at Nelson 16 feet, the destination 23. Alternate today is Wellington. We're going to be cruising at 19,000 feet. with a cost index of 0, an airtime of about 1 hour and 11 minutes. The weather, the average wind, 257.53, so that's okay. Yeah, it's top of climb wind is not that violent, but yeah, we can expect some turbulence along the flight, and everything else is looking good. There's no valid METAR found. I'm not sure why at Nelson, but that's okay. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and set our weight and balance for the flight. So, and we're going to bring up the wheel here again and the SimBrief plan. We're going to go straight to the raw flight plan, and we're going to go to the payload information here. We have 58 passengers on board the flight, and the cargo is 3,190. That's, by the way, everything in pounds. 13,340 for payload and 5,308 for fuel. Mike Zugger, hello, my friend. Welcome. Glad to have you here with us. All right, so we're going to switch this to pounds, and we're going to set the fuel. As you can see here, the max of fuel is 5.3, so we're going to take this down a notch. Let's see here, 5.4, that's okay. And for the payload, we're going to take it down to 13,340. So let's take this down. 13,340. I think that's about right. All right, so we got all of that done and dusted. Excellent. Now we can hop back into the cockpit. There, if I can get this right. There we go. And we have the cargo door ground power unit is connected. We're going to make sure that the fuel levers are in the cutoff position. The thrust levers are in the idle position. Gust lock is on. The flaps are retracted. The parking brake is set. And the wipers are off on both sides. And with that, we can start turning on the battery and establishing electrical power to the aircraft. We're just going to give it a second here to run the self-test. There we go. Cancel the master caution. And we can now turn on the external power. Look at this aircraft during nighttime. Yeah, it looks really nice. Yeah, by the way, it's early morning hours in New Zealand. I fast-forwarded the time a little bit, so we're not flying in real time. And obviously, there's no METAR information, so I'm not sure about the weather either. But we're flying in real weather, according to the sim. Thrust set simulation. Bill Barrett, hello, my friend. Welcome aboard. Now that I have retired, I'm going to give streaming a... Wow. Welcome. Welcome to the world of streaming. Let me know if you need any help. I'll be more than happy to help you. All right. So... first thing first, we are going to make sure the lights are working and all the lights are illuminated. Checks okay. And next we're going to begin with our flows. So the first thing first is the fuel panel. Pump, X-feed, lines distinguished, and the pump here. And then we'll return the X-feed. All is good here. SW test, cab okay, and service is okay. Everything here looks good. Landing gears showing 3, green, and script test, bolt test, and fire test. Brilliant. We're going to turn on the nav lights on. We don't need the prop brakes today, so we're going to start the aircraft from its current position and taxi straight out to runway 02 for departure. We are going to turn on the DC gens 1 and 2, and then we're going to come up here and test the cockpit voice recorder. All checks okay. Emergency lights are armed. Seat belts are on. No device is on. We're going to leave the probe heat for the time being. Windshield is on, and we're going to turn on all these guys. The hydraulic and the AC wild electrical power. And again, the external power here in real life is actually used for maintenance, so we're actually not supposed to turn this on. It is available, and we can use it. It will turn on the hydraulic power system, so it will power this part of the aircraft. It looks like it has something similar to Airbus, where they have a green, blue, and yellow hydraulic lines, but this one seems to have green and blue only. All right. We're going to test the for aviation emergency. It's the unlicensed operation unlawful. Ooh, what is that? High voltage. And I'm not sure what this is, but we've tested it. Okay. Coming down here. Let's see here. Everything's good. Main oxygen supply is on, and we're going to test the oxygen on the first officer and captain sides. And oxygen is good. Next, we're going to test the smoke test. It checks okay. And the squib test for engine number 2. Bolt. And let's see here. And fire test. Excellent. All right. All the tests on the overhead panel are completed. We can come down here now to the ATPC test. And we'll check here. Just make sure test okay. Excellent. And the other side for engine number 2. And checks okay. And the tests here are complete. Perfect. A couple more tests before we conclude and start programming the FMC. The NTI's test is checked. And the APM test as well is checked. Excellent. All right. So everything is set up here. Yeah, all the tests are complete, and now we can start programming the FMC. But before we do so, it's a good time to start boarding our passengers.
Boarding requested.
So let's go ahead and board the passengers while we set up the FMC. Good afternoon, Fareed Larkham. How are you doing? Janita 1606, welcome. IFR Captain, welcome. Glad to have you guys. Benny, how are you doing, my friend? Glad to have you here. All right, we're going to do both.
Pilots boarding starting.
All right, so we're going to start boarding the pilots. And by the way, I have downloaded the GSX profile from flightsim.to, and you'll see the passengers and the pilots coming from inside the airport terminal. And I have to say that this is a beautiful rendition of Nelson Airport, an airport that I highly recommend if you like flying in New Zealand. All right, let's get things underway. We're going to start programming the FMC, and for this, we are going to bring back our SimBrief flight plan. We'll leave it here. Excellent. All right. So in it, first we're going to check, this is the first flight of the day. So performance data, everything here checks. We have conf data okay and nav data okay. We're going to go to init, position init, and we are going to select the current position, sensors init, and return. And next we're going to go to the flight plan. We're going to go to the route, and we are New Zealand Air 5068. So A and Z 5068. Excellent. And we're flying today from Nelson NZNS to Auckland, which is November Zulu Alpha Alpha. Brilliant. Raul Rodriguez. Hello, my friend. How's the ATR compared to the Fly JQ400? Two very different... Well, there are a lot of similarities between the two planes, but we'll talk about that. That's a good topic to speak about today. All right, let's get things set up, and then I will answer your question, Raul. All right, so we are at Nelson, and we are going to be departing runway 02, the limo to Papa, I suppose. So let's just check here.
Boarding starting.
Yeah, the limo to Papa. So that's our departure. And the Snappa transition. And execute that. And then from Snappa, so we're going to select Snappa. We're going to go to the airway. And it's Quebec 438. And exit at Iguta. Iguta. Where is Iguta? Next page, Iguta, right there. Excellent. And then it's Yankee 175. Yankee 175 to Omcon. That's Omcon. And then it's Yankee 311. Yankee 311 to Daduk. You know, if you change the spelling of this, it becomes Duduk. And Duduk is actually one of the, it's like a flute, and it's a beautiful instrument to listen to. Just type in Duduk and you'll be able to get it. All right, so Yankee 311 to Duduk, which is here Daduk, I guess that's how it's said. And then it's Yankee 273. Yankee 273 to Pepe. Pepe. That's Pepe. Excellent. And then it's the arrival. So we're going to say execute, return, and then we're going to go next. Next. All right. That's our arrival. And the arrival today is going to we'll use the ILS 23 left. ILS 23 left through the Pepe 9 Charlie. Pepe 9 Charlie. If we can find it. There it is. Pepe 9 Charlie. And there is no transition, so I don't think there is a transition. Here we can check our flight plan.
Your crew has boarded.
No,
Passengers boarding
there's
started.
definitely no transition. All right, so now we're done with the flight plan. Let's take a quick look at the passengers coming to the aircraft. You can see them here. You can see them there coming now here too. Let me just go there. Now we can see the passengers heading over to the plane right there. Yep, you can see them there. Very nice. Whoever's done this GSX profile really has done a really good job and has really taken the time to put all the waypoints so that the passengers come over and board the aircraft. Very, very nice. You know, GSX Pro really changes things in this sim. So, yeah, I do like this quite a bit. It makes it just a tad more realistic. Yeah, there we go. And we have the passengers now boarding the aircraft. AFGeek0109. Hello, my friend. Welcome. At home right now, kind of in pain. I had, I'm very sorry about that. I hope you feel better, my friend. All right. So now we have everything set up here in the flight plan. Now, for the secondary flight plan, I'm just going to copy it. I'm not going to do anything with it. Copy plan and confirm. And I'm just going to return and do that. Now, there is some issue with the secondary flight plan. Every time I select like the arrival, it turns everything here to yellow and things don't work. So we're just going to leave that. All right. So we are done with the flight plan. And next we're going to go to perf. We'll leave this alone for now. We're going to come here and set our cruise altitude, which is 19,000 feet. Brilliant. And the alternate is, according to our flight plan, is going to be Wellington. That's November Zulu Whiskey November. And altitude, we'll leave the same altitude there. We'll put 17,000 feet for Wellington. And next we can go to the weights. And if you press and hold, it will automatically populate it, so you don't have to enter the number. So just hold the key here, the button, press and hold, and it will automatically populate everything for you. You've got the trim here set up to 0.09 up. Excellent. And we can actually set this up now if we want. All right, 0.09 is already set up. And now if we go, by the way, to return, if we go to the performance here, you'll see that we have our speeds set already 111. V1, V rotate is 111, and V2 is 114. Excellent. Kevin Lewis, welcome to the Q8 Pilot channel, my friend. Thank you for your subscription, sir. All right. So everything here is done, and we can now go and do the checklist. So we'll allow the passengers to load the aircraft. Let's go ahead and set the altimeter. Right, altimeter is set. Excellent. And we can come here and do the checklist. Over bleed valve is full and open. And the manual cabin alternate knob is at the 9 o'clock position. Cab pressure mode selector manual. Manual cab alt knob is max increase. Recirc fans 1 and 2 are off. And the ram air is on. And then we can just check these. There we go, procedure complete, and the final cockpit preparation. We've already done that, so we can say procedure complete. All right, so parking brake is engaged and checked. Altimeters are set. Landing elevation is, let's see here. Landing elevation. Come on. Is 20. We're going to set this to 23. All right, that is set. And click here. FMS comm and nav is set. Fuel quantity, FOB is check. Engine fuel used, we can reset that here. Engine fuel reset is done. And we're going to go ahead and confirm the takeoff data as well. And that is checked. Memo panel is checked. Power management is on takeoff, which is set. And the procedure is now complete. Now we have to do the before propeller rotation. We'll leave that for the time being, and we'll wait for the passenger boarding to complete. And as you can see here, we have about 10 more passengers to board the aircraft. There we go. Very, very nice rendition of Nelson Airport. Highly recommended airport. Again, if you guys are interested in this scenery, you can type !scenery. You'll get the links to both our departure and arrival airports. MC Crewfish, hello, my friend. Lorima Lynn, hello, good evening to you. Whoa, we have you from Mauritius. Welcome, my friend. Glad to have you here with us. Hello, Gab. Welcome aboard, my friend. Glad to have you here with us this evening. All right, looks like we have all the passengers on board the aircraft. Last passenger is making his way now. There he is. He's an old fella, so we'll give him some time. All right, welcome aboard, sir. All right, he's going to take his seat, and that's the last of the passengers boarding the aircraft. Okay, perfect. We can now close the door. So we're going to come back here to the aircraft. We're going to close the, we're going to move the tail prop. We're going to close the service door, the main door. We're going to leave the cargo door. I don't have still the, not sure if the cargo has been loaded. Could be. Ah, looks like it's just arriving now. So the passenger is going to have to wait today. Great SimX. Hello, my friend. Welcome. Glad to have you here with us. Cloud9 Aviator. Greetings from Vienna. Welcome, my friend. I was actually doing an earlier flight in Vienna today in X-Plane 12. And it looks like the baggage has just arrived from the airport terminal. And we're going to start loading the baggage. Incidentally, I was, something popped in my YouTube homepage today regarding, mysterious flights, and very interesting came the Santiago Flight 513, which departed Germany in 1954 and never arrived into its destination. Much to the surprise of everyone, it has landed back in Brazil in 1989 with skeletons on board. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not much, I'm not a big fan of, these stories, and I just think that they're not accurate, they're not true, they're all false, and, yeah, I don't believe in these things, I'm not a big believer in conspiracy theory, and, there's, again, one of the things that came during the course of my search over YouTube, just casual search, that the moon landing was staged, and all of these theories about, how it was staged and why it was staged, and just really crazy stuff. Anyway, Mark Pierce, hello. Is the ERJ series from X-Craft good Q8, not the E-Jets? The ERJ used to be okay. They were not great for X-Plane 11. But we'll talk a little about the X-Craft E-Jets today, and I do realize that the community has kind of felt let down by the release of the X-Craft E-Jets, but that's something we're going to talk about today a little bit. And yeah, let me check here. Everything here looks good. Let's put this on the flight plan. And this is okay. We'll leave that here. All right. Okay. By the way, this works. Just so that you know. All right. We're still loading some baggage here. 33%. You know what, guys? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to... let me do the following. Let me come here to GSX. And I'm just going to say... restart. All right. Thank you very much, GSX. We are good to go. We're going to go ahead and close the cargo door and remove the chocks. And we are now ready for engine start. And before CDLs are on, trims, FMS, and takeoff data. All right, let's turn on our beacon on. Beacon is turned on. CDLs are good. FMS and data, takeoff data is confirmed. There we go. Confirm. Okay. And trim 3-axis set. Tail prop is on board. The doors are now closed. Seat belts are on. And the beacon is on. And the procedure is now complete. All right. We're good to start our engines. And we're going to come here and we're going to start with the... Now, visually, you don't see the GPU. So I'm not sure on which side it is. I'm going to assume that it's on this side here, so we're going to start with the engine number 2 first. Okay, so we're going to go to the engine start selector, go to start A and B, and we're going to start with engine number 2. There we go, start engine number 2, and the engine is now spooling. We'll wait for 10%. 10% is there, and we can set the fuel to feather. Brilliant. And auto. Listen to those engine sounds. Rafik Alberto, hello from Rotterdam. Welcome aboard, my friend. Interesting story. Hello, my friend. Unless the chemtrails are doing their job. Hello there, Stefanos. Welcome, my friend. Glad to have you here. How about a flight in the updated headwind Airbus A3? Sure, no worries. I got the message today from Flight SimTO that they have the newest version. All right, let's go and start engine number 1. And now we have engine number 1 spooling. And by the way, when you start the engines, you'll see that the hydraulic power is automatically turned on, so you don't really have to turn on the other external power. All right, and let's go to feather. Look at that. By the way, guys, if you'd like me to do a review of the Azure Pulley Trans 160, or one, is it 160? Yeah. Just let me know in chat. I'll be more than happy to do that. Best aircraft for X-Plane 12 out of the Rotate MD-11 or the Q4XP. I think it's slightly better than the MD-11 in terms of the fidelity. The texturing, the interactivity is much better on the Q4XP than it is on the MD-11. But that's my opinion. All right, so we have both engines started, and let's take a quick look at the overhead panel here. Everything here looks good. Engine selector can go to the off position, and we can turn off the external power. We no longer need the ground power unit, and we can turn on the probe heat, and everything here looks good. Excellent. So one thing we are going to do, we are going to set the speeds on automatic. So now you can see that the 170 magenta is set here, and 111, that's the speed I have set. But 170 is set, and we'll let the aircraft computer take care of our climb. Everything here is set and cross-checked. All right, let's go ahead and do the before taxi checklist. FWS recall, cockpit comm hatch is closed. The condition levers 1 and 2 are on auto. Anti-icing as required. TRU is on and checked. Anti-skid test is checked. And flaps 15. All right, is set. And we can see the flaps are now set. Excellent. And nose wheel steering is on. And the before taxi checklist is complete. All right. Now we can go to the taxi and takeoff light and turn that puppy on. And now we can release the parking brake. And the taxi checklist. Taxi lights are on. Brakes are checked. FGCP and FMA are set and checked. To config test. Takeoff config test is checked. And the taxi checklist is complete. Right, we get that the DX12 issue there. I haven't seen this issue in a long time, but kind of resurfaced again. Yeah, the Fly JSON Q4XB is a highly detailed, high fidelity aircraft for X-Plane 12. In my view, it is better than the Majestic Dash 8 by Majestic Software. Especially with the recent update, it looks absolutely phenomenal. All right, we are on our way to runway 02 for departure, and all is looking good. Right, we're going to turn on the landing lights and the strobe lights. Yeah, it would be really nice to have a Dash Q400 for Microsoft Flight Simulator, without a doubt. All right, here we go. That's the... we're going to make a slight stop here. And let's set the parking brake real quick. And I'm not sure why it hasn't gone to the... takeoff checklist, but let's go to normal procedures, and we're just going to go manually to the before takeoff checklist. Takeoff briefing is performed, gust lock is removed, and flight controls are full up, full down, full left, full right are checked. transponder, we can come here and set the transponder to on and check that. Boost function as required. Airflow is currently normal. Cabin crew advised. Engine bleed as required. External lights are on. Lateral FD bar is centered. And the rudder cam is centered. And the checklist is complete. And the next checklist would be the after takeoff checklist. Anthony, hello, my friend. Welcome aboard. All right. We're going to set this here again to the normal procedure. And I'm going to go ahead and select the after takeoff checklist. All right. And we'll just leave it there. And now we are ready to go. All right. Parking brake released. And I'm going to set this on ND. There we go. I really like the textures of this aircraft. Very, very nice. And of course, we want the throttles in the notch for departure. Right, here we go. Right, let's set up put the aircraft on the center line. And this is a very short runway. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold the brakes, put the throttle in the notch, and then we will release. Right, we're in the notch. Parking brakes are released. And 111 is our rotation speed. Airspeed alive. All right, and close enough. We almost took the full length of the runway. Positive rate. What a beautiful departure here out of Nelson in New Zealand. Right, looking good. All right, and at this point we're gonna go nav, vertical speed, and autopilot.
Don't sink. Don't sink.
You know what's? I don't think we've set our altitude.
Don't sink. Don't sink.
That would be my bad.
Don't sink.
All right, let's do VNAV.
Don't sink.
So VNAV IIS, and that will help us climb. That was my bad, guys. Right, 19,000 is set. There's a restriction at 5,000. So it's going to take us to 170. Now there's two ways you can do this. You can either do an IAS or you can do VNAV IAS. Both work. I don't think it's a tail strike, but I always get that sound on takeoff. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's a tail strike. I don't know. All right. We're climbing now. Everything is looking good. And we'll switch this down to climb. Right, power management, climb. Brilliant. And the after takeoff checklist. We can turn off the taxi takeoff light. And we can do the after takeoff checklist. Landing gear is up. Flaps are up. Power management, climb. Engine bleed is on. Taxi and takeoff lights are off. The altimeters are set and cross-checked. All right. All right, it wants me to do this again. So we're just going to do this one more time. All right, there we go. All right, and now we're climbing, folks, to our cruise altitude. We need to be below 5,000 here, and after that we can continue the climb. And here is the beautiful terrain over New Zealand. Yeah, that runway was a really short runway. Maybe we should have gone to a lower flap setting. Hey, simulation, welcome aboard. That's what the grinding noise is. Is it? It's strike very easily to... You have to be careful. I see. Okay, thanks, Brent, for that. Virtual flight sim guy, how are you doing? That was definitely a tail strike. It just turned into check takeoff. Very nice. Right, that looks like now we can go up to 10,000. Now we can go... Now the speed, let's go to VS here. All right, there we go. Let's increase our range here a bit. There we go. That's much better. That should bring the speed back to 170 and continue our climb to 19,000 feet. I keep meaning to get this bird. Would you recommend it? Absolutely. Matthew Stratford. Hello, my friend. Welcome. From my son Danny, age 9, loves flying, watching from the UK. Well, hello, Matthew, and greetings to your son, Danny. Hello, Danny. Welcome, my friend. Glad to have you here with us on stream today. I hope you enjoy the flight. Those systems feel like a turboprop Airbus. Yeah, they do. All right, so we are now continuing our climb here and over the beautiful waters in New Zealand. Look at that. Just really lovely aircraft. So, back on the question from Raul, is this... So how does this compare to the Q4XP? I will say this. From the visual perspective, of course, I think the Q4XP is one of the most successful aircraft for X-Plane. But in terms of the visuals, of course, this is photoreal. I mean, this looks phenomenal in terms of how it looks. There are a few things that are not correct, such as the pitos on the outside of the aircraft. But from the visual perspective, I think this looks just really, look at that. I mean, it looks really, really good. And so does the Q4XP. But from the visual perspective, this one has probably an edge over the Q4XP, just a little bit. From the depth of system simulation, of course, the Q4XP is a much more detailed aircraft in terms of the systems. And it's got all sorts of failures that you can simulate that are, of course, from X-Plane, but you can simulate those failures, whereas you can't really do much with this one. Except for normal procedures, so you can't really simulate an engine fire and things like that. And hopefully that's something will come in some time. You're most welcome there, Matthew. Um, but yeah, I think the Q4XP on a different level, if you ask me. It is one of the most advanced add-ons for flight simulation, and for X-Plane to be one of the best, really. It was voted as the airliner of the year previous year when it was released, and I would probably tend to agree with that, with that assessment, that it's just really an incredible aircraft with a lot of systems simulated now. Right, we're approaching 10,000 feet. Landing lights are off, and we're going to release the passengers. We'll let them use their mobile phones as well, if they so desire. And we're looking good now. 9,000 feet to go, and all's looking good. Excellent. Now, the speed, if we look here into the FMS, and we can select here. So this one gives you the altitude and the speeds, and we'll see that after a Guta, we can go, or at a Kavi, we can go to 240 knots, but looks like there is a restriction at 170 across all the way to Iguta. So yeah, we'll just be aware of that. And here's our ETA speed and altitude. We're looking all right, and everything's looking good. Excellent. I'm still learning the Q4XP. Yeah, Q4XP is an excellent aircraft, really, and I highly recommend it. If this was mentioned, but this plane is stable, I think it's pretty stable. Courier Ocean 1358. I think it's pretty stable. Yeah, it's quite enjoyable. It's a lot of fun to fly. Lots of things to, again, learn, and I think they've simulated the systems to, a reasonable extent. I think up to what the manufacturer has allowed them to do. There are no failures or anything like that, so don't expect, that level of fidelity. But nonetheless, very enjoyable aircraft. It's got some really nice sounds and systems simulated. It will definitely give you a sort of a broad idea about the ATR and how it operates. So overall, yeah, it's a definitely at the price that they're offering this aircraft at. I think it's a real bargain. So one thing that I wanted to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about is the X-Craft E-Jets. And it looks like a lot of guys have come to, to the videos, to the last stream that I've done, and to the one with Marco, the developer, and, oh, this is not authentic, this is really bad, that, I'm really disappointed, and this and that, and it's very expensive, and it's not worth that. In fact, there was one guy who went to my my latest stream on the aircraft and said that I've watched Q8 and XP72, and those are the two guys selected by Marco, and they are, meaning Q8 and XP72, are both either dishonest or ignorant, because this aircraft is nowhere near ready. So that was the statement from this guy. And for one, I can take criticism, I can take an attack on my person, but that guy had no right to speak anything about XP72. And my response to this gentleman was that we have reported how we've experienced the aircraft to the community. Yeah, we're not real E-Jet pilots, so yeah, we cannot really vouch for what's missing or how things are. Is it operating according to real life or not? But there is an actual E-Jet pilot who has done a review of the aircraft, and he vouches for the authenticity of the aircraft. So the authenticity is regarding what's already simulated in the aircraft. So yeah, is it ready? Is it complete? No, it's not complete. Is it study level? No, it's not study level. But Marco and Xcraft has never advertised the aircraft as study level, and they never said that it was going to be ready from day one. So not all the features were going to be there from. It's ready. Obviously, it is operational, but they never advertised that all the features aboard the A-Jet is going to be available. So I don't think that there is any lack of transparency from Xcraft's part to the community. In fact, Marco on the pre-release stream was very, very honest, and he actually was very transparent with the community, and that I give him a lot of credit for that. Now we come to the price. Is the price worth it, or or not worth it, right? Rolls everywhere. Yeah, I agree with you, Alex. So here's the thing, guys, on the price, okay? And normally I avoid talking about the price, but let me just explain a few things to you on pricing. You all know that any aircraft on the X-Plane org, there is a little bit of, the revenue that is shared with with the X-Plane org. So that part is taken. There's also the licensing. If, for example, you use the Dream engine for sounds, then you have to pay for that license. It's not free. And so if you actually calculate the profit that the developer is going to make, it's actually a lot less than what you think. And to make it from a business point of view, to make this viable for them, they need to price it so that they end up making a little bit of money after X-Plane org takes their cut, and whatever licenses they've purchased take their cut, so they are left with some amount which is rightfully theirs after all the work that they've done. So that's one thing to bear in mind. Of course, this is none of our concern as consumers. We don't really care as consumers, but I thought it was worthwhile mentioning. Let me come here and see what's going on here. Right, so about 4,000 feet. Let me just put this, there we go. There, okay, that's better. We can see the top of climb here, which is cool. All right, 4,000 feet to go. And here's a look at the outside, by the way. All right, so considering the X-Craft has been in the making for 2 years, and it is an authentic representation of the aircraft, by the way, in terms of the looks, the dimensions, the texturing is done very well. The sounds are high quality sounds. The engine sounds are beautiful as you hear those engines being put to maximum power rolling down the runway. The representation of the aircraft systems, whatever is represented, is done exactly like it is in the real aircraft. Is everything there? No, it's missing a lot of things. But again, there is a lot of area for improvement, and that is the thing I said during my stream. But if I compare it to all the other aircraft recently released, by the way, both for X-Plane and Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I look at the pricing, I think the aircraft is really worth for the amount of effort and for what the add-on actually offers. I think it's actually pretty good. I don't think it's cheap, by the way. I'm not going to say that it's cheap. No, it is not cheap. But is it worth it? Yeah, it is worth it in my view. It's not a cheap aircraft to have. And for me, as a business case, for me as a consumer, it does not really make any sense to buy two aircraft separately. So if I'm only interested in one variant, let's say the 175, which is the most popular, then I'll stick to paying the $75 for that one variant. But if you have the slightest desire to own two or more, I would go and buy the entire family. And the entire family comes initially with 4 aircraft, but don't forget that if you buy the entire family, you'll get the Lineage 1000 once it's ready. So so that's 5 aircraft for 130. I think that's pretty good. Each aircraft has different performance data. The cabin configuration is different. So the flight model differs. Everything differs. So So for that amount of work, I think it's worth the price. There's not a lot of planes that come out that you can fly from A to B with no problems. My first flight had no problems. Good. Yeah, I agree with that. I paid over 100 euros as well for both the 757 and 767. There you go. Rand has no idea what is he talking about. Yeah, well, what can I say, Rand? What can I say? All right, we are at 17,000, another couple of thousand feet before we... Oh, by the way, we should have set the barrow to standard. And, all right, so that leaves us about 1,000 feet to level off at 19,000 feet, our final cruise altitude today. And yeah, I got carried away with the little chit chat there. And look at those engines. Lovely. Right, that's the altitude warning horn telling us that we are 1,000 feet away from the final cruise altitude. A little bit of turbulence as expected from the weather briefing that we have reviewed before our flight. Marco explains what was that. That is absolutely correct. That is absolutely correct. And by the way, yes, it is a complete rebuild from scratch. So, and I think he explains that very well during that stream and the entire journey with the E-Jets. So, with that, I stand behind my reviews of the aircraft and what I have said. And by the way, I did go to the X-Plane.org and purchase my own copy, though I have a copy from Xcrafts, which is as a beta tester. But I always do that. I went and purchased the aircraft because it keeps me true to the community, and that way, whatever I say, I'm under no bias whatsoever. And you know, if anyone asks, yeah, I did purchase I paid the $130 for all 4 aircraft, and I'm quite happy with it, to be honest. I don't own them, but from watching QA, I can tell they are very well done. They are very well done, Rand, in fact, yeah. So, yeah. So, guys, there are a couple of add-ons. The Alouette 3 helicopter that was released for Microsoft Flight Simulator, as well as the Azure Poly Trans 160, I believe. If you guys want me to review those, please do let me know. I was actually on the fence whether I should review them or not. But if you want me to review them, I'll be more than happy to do so. Benny, I worked on them in real life, and it's authentic. Well, thank you very much, Benny. I appreciate that very much. Thank you for sharing that with us. I appreciate it. All right. We are almost at 19,000 feet. And as you can see here, we are over the beautiful waters here. What a beautiful day here in New Zealand. All right. What we're going to do now is we're going to set up our landing data. And by the way, just to kind of show you where we are, let me just zoom out. We are right there. Okay, so we are almost halfway through the route, excluding the arrival. So yeah, we're right there. Excellent. Good time to start putting our information. So we're going to come here to performance, and we're going to go to the next page. That's our approach. The transition altitude is, I believe, 11,000 feet, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to set 11,000. And the QNH, let's check it out. All right, we're going to come here to Auckland, and we're going to go to the information, the weather, and 1002. All right, so let's set that to 1002. Okay, there we go, 1002. We have our speeds, flaps full today, and the wind, the ground wind, is going to be, let's check it out here, 250 at 20 knots. Check it out, 250 at 20 knots. Woof. 250 at 20 knots, and 0 gusting. There we go. 250, 20 knots. Everything is set here. And one more thing, we need the ILS frequency. So we are going to be arriving. Let me make this a little smaller here. All right. So just so that we can monitor the aircraft in case something happens. So we're going to go back to the flights. This is Auckland. 23 left is the arrival. So this is the approach. And this is 23 left. And let's select the approach plate. The initial approach altitude is 3,000 feet. And the frequency is 109.9er with a final approach course of 231 degrees. All right, so first let's set the frequency for the ILS. So we're going to come here and we're going to go to nav. And from here, we can select 101. I think we have to do it on the other, this one here. 10. If I can find the 0, 9er, decimal 9er. All right, excellent. Enter that and transfer. And we're going to do the same thing on the ILS2. So 109er, decimal 9er. And enter that and transfer. Excellent. Perfect. And the only thing now is we need to set the final approach course to 231 degrees. All right. So to do this, we're going to set this to ILS1. And we're going to set the course to 231. Right, setting the course. There with that turbulence, it's going to be difficult to keep looking, so I'm just going to hold and press until we are at 231 degrees. Right, 2, 3, and 1. Right, 2, 3, 1 is set. We'll set this back to the FMS. And we continue our flight now. We're not too far from the top of descent. All right, Rand, got you there. All right, looking good. I like that. Like how you can open the door. I wonder why, you know, ATR has built this area here, which to me is a complete waste of space. But yeah, it's very strange. I mean, this is the flight deck door here, but they've kind of left this area. Is it like the cargo area? It might be. The way it's done, because I know this is the cargo door, so it looks like this is the entrance to the cargo, and then here is the passenger cabin. So it looks like the cargo is somewhere over there. Not sure really, but it's got a really nice cabin to it as well. Without a doubt. Yeah, it's a nice cabin. There we go. Look at that, guys. That looks really nice. Yeah. Right, we'll go back to the cabin. Right, close the door. And back in the cockpit. There we go. All done. Perfect. Ah, it's for the crew to store the luggage. I see. Gotta love the terrain in New Zealand. All right, we're looking good. And everything is in tip-top shape. So yeah, I've been away from the from streaming for a few days. I think last week I haven't really stuck to the schedule. Normally, what I'd like to do normally is to do a stream on Saturday, and then again on Tuesday and Thursday. Those are the dates that I normally like to stream, or I find the time to stream are those days. But unfortunately, this last week, I did publish a few videos. One was of the Flight Sim Builder GNS 530, and if you haven't seen that video, I recommend that you go and take a look at it. The device is quite promising, and it's very reasonably priced if you like to have, you know, flight sim gadgets, and you don't really want to fiddle around with popping out, you know, screens and fiddling around with your mouse, and really get a feel for how the actual device works. It's actually a good device. I do recommend it. And ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Delvin Johnson, just became a subscriber. Welcome aboard, my friend. Thank you for your subscription to the Q8 Pilot channel. I'm not sure why we're not getting the alerts from Streamlabs OBS today, but normally I think it requires, like, I go to the cloud bot, turn it on and off for the alerts to come. Hello there, Steve Ben. Hello, my friend. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you here with us, and thank you for your continued support, sir. One thing to the channel members, my apologies for not really doing much, much for you guys. I really apologize. I know I haven't really been doing, a lot of exclusive content for members. But that will probably change soon, I hope. And thank you very much, guys, for your support over the years. I really appreciate it. I've received, by the way, a few of my new equipment. One of which is the Stream Deck Plus from Elgato, and I can't wait to set up my new XLR mic from Elgato. The new mic from Elgato. I can't wait to test it out. I'm just waiting for the mount, the table mount, to start testing things out. And I've got the Wave DX as well from Elgato. So can't really wait to start testing things out. Hello there, Carl Childers. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Thank you very much, Carl, for being here. Brad, Alex, you guys have been just really instrumental to the success of the streams here on the channel. So thank you very much for that. And here's a look at the outside. Yeah. Look at that. Just beautiful. By the way, we could have started the chrono there, the clock, but that's okay. So yeah, so hopefully more content for members only in the coming weeks, days, and months. Hopefully. Your content is enough. Well, thank you very much for your kindness. You're very kind, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Really, I appreciate your kind words. And that's really what keeps me going, guys. So I'm not after, you know, the financial gain, for sure, from YouTube. And I just really do this for fun. For the sheer fun and the passion of sharing knowledge with the community and really becoming your review guide, if you will, to help save you guys money. Yeah. Interestingly enough, there is a blog. Now, I've come across this, you know, recently. It was about a 3-year post into Muttley's Hangar. And it looks like one of the Muttley Hangar crew, actually. So it looks like one of the guys that are running this blog, if you will, have taken one of my reviews of one of the Coronado aircraft for Microsoft Flight Simulator and trying to show how, you know, my review of the aircraft was bad. So he's reviewing my review. The guy is reviewing my review. And I mean, some of the thing, you know, I'll tell you one thing, guys, that I have seen over the past 8 years. So I started developing content in 2015. I wasn't really, you know, known then, but I started right about there in 2015. My very first video was posted in 2015. And what I've seen over the past 8 years of developing content on YouTube is there is so much hatred for no reason, for no apparent reason, and I just cannot fathom, you know, having so much hate for someone you don't even know. But a lot of I've you know, I know, by the way, I knew that specific guy, why, you know, he did what he did, and why he attacked the review that I've done. Anyway, I responded to him nicely. And one thing I've learned over the years as well is don't respond and don't get agitated and just leave it. I've seen, by the way, a lot of the content creators leave the flight simulation world because of that. But I just hope that people can learn to become a little more, you know, forgiving, I guess, maybe, for the lack of a better term. Let me see where we are. All right, so we are now at Zaki. We're heading to Duduk, and probably at Duduk, we're going to begin the descent towards Auckland. We're still looking good. And guys, just look at the beautiful terrain here in New Zealand. It looks just fantastic. By the way, guys, I was going to make a video on this, but I'm going to tell you, hate like that mass deep insecurely. Yeah, lot. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. They do hate the world. Yeah. I'm sure of that, Rand, but that's okay. Does anyone own a Thrustmaster rudder? I wanted to know if it's compatible with Xbox on Flight Simulator or X-Plane 12. Delbin, I do have the Thrustmaster rudder, and it is compatible with X-Plane 12. I do not have Xbox, so I don't know, but I assume that it is. But it's definitely, it works with Microsoft Flight Simulator PC version, and it definitely works with the with X-Plane 12. The keyboard warriors, absolutely. Safely from their parents' basement. Yeah. So yeah, it does work beautifully with X-Plane 12. All right, so I was going to actually make a video where a video of the top 10 YouTubers or flight sim YouTubers. But here, let me tell you guys some of the people I watch on regular basis, and I will tell you where they actually excel, or why do I watch those specific channels. So the first one is, and by the way, in no particular order, but I'm just going to tell you who I think are worth looking at. So, and there are, by the way, maybe perhaps many others. So it's not by any mean an exhaustive list of, you know, the good content creators. Those are just the ones that I follow regularly. So you've got the Sim Hanger, Mark. Mark runs an excellent channel. The growth, he's probably one of the fastest growing channels on YouTube for flight simulation, and he is the #1 guy when it comes to hardware reviews. So especially VR. If you like VR, you have to go to Mark's Sim Hanger channel and give the guy a few hundred likes and subscribes and watch his channels. I love this guy. He is very honest, and you know, he does things with style. His presentation skills are superb, so I highly recommend him. The other person I like to watch, mainly for Microsoft aircraft reviews only, he doesn't do anything else, is Into the Blue Simulations. He's a real-world Airbus pilot, and he brings real-world insight into his videos. I do like his channel a lot. I think he contributes quite a bit to the community. Again, he's got a very nice, very balanced, you know, take on add-ons. He's very careful, you know, not to, you know, bash the developers or put them down. So he does things in a very, he's well mannered, and he does things in a very professional way, without really, you know, going into, you know, hurting the developers' feelings or anything, bashing them or being abrasive. He does it very, very well. Unfortunately, he only does aircraft for Microsoft Flight Simulator, nothing else. Let me set our the altitude to 3,000 feet, which is the initial approach altitude, because we are getting close to our destination. So I'm going to reset this to 3,000. All right, 3,000 set. Now, by the way, if we look here, this is top of descent, as you can see here. So we will begin the descent shortly. So that's another channel. The third one, so Sim Hanger for hardware reviews, VR, he's #1. And #2 for Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft reviews, Into the Blue Simulation is the guy I like to watch. And #3 for news. Now, there's a lot of people that do the news sites, okay? Like hundreds of channels that do the news. But for me, there are two that I like, or maybe one specifically that I like, which is Oz Flight Simmer, Shane. Shane is, by the way, a good friend of mine. I really, and we've done, by the way, collabs in the past. We've done videos together in the past. But I like Oz Flight Simmer's updates. Unfortunately, he only does Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's the thing. Again, with both Oz Flight Simmer and Into the Blue Simulations, they are only Microsoft Flight Simulator. They don't do anything, you know, nothing to do with X-Plane. So that's a bit of a bummer, because I do like both of them, but they've elected just to do Microsoft Flight Simulator. All right, I think we are over at the top of descent mark here. So if I There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to VNAV. And let's see here. We should begin the descent. There we go. Now you see that we are descending. Now this aircraft does not have an auto throttle. So what we're going to do is we're going to ease off now on the throttle to keep our speed. There we go. And we've begun the descent. Right, we're going to go to idle power. And we'll increase if necessary. So those are three. Then I really like V1 simulation. V1 simulation is a real-world Airbus pilot. Again, I really like his... he does a lot of videos where he tests things out. He does a lot of failures, you know, engine fire, APU fire, real-world, again, real-world insight. Then flight deck to sim, of course. Excellent content. I normally don't watch his streams because they're very long and I really don't have time. But I watch reruns sometimes. But his videos, his videos initially when he started the channel are just simply superb. And then you've got A320 Sim Pilot. Again, I like to watch him every now and then. Not a regular there, I have to say, but I do like to watch him every now and then. Pilot Stud is another good YouTuber. I think a growing channel. So he's still kind of, you know, he's got actually a good following. So Pilot Stud is someone I watch, and again, he's very honest guy. Unfortunately, he only does Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, Flight Deck to Sim and V1 Simulations do both sims. They do, or although they've been doing more Microsoft Flight Simulator lately, but they do both sims. So great channels. And those are, I do watch, by the way, Captain Canada. I like to watch his streams. So he doesn't really do reviews in the sense of a dedicated video for a review, but obviously if he's flying something or going to a specific scenery, then he is obviously doing a review. So from that perspective, yeah. All right, we're approaching 10,000 feet. And those are pretty much the guys that I watch. We're going to know device and seatbelt, and let's go for the checklist. Normal procedures. And let's see here. We want to go to the descent checklist. Recall checked. Landing elevation 23 is checked. FMS nav data performance is set. DA MDA is checked. Arrival briefing is performed. And the checklist is complete. We're going to go to the next checklist, which is the approach checklist. We're going to select it and leave it there. All right. We continue our descent. And, oh, by the way, we did not set the altimeter, so let me do that. All right, there we go. That should decrease the rate of descent. And we're almost now at our destination airport, which is Auckland. And speaking of that, guys, let's do flight controller replay. Let's turn that on, and hopefully I'll remember to start recording. By the way, what happens if we do VNAV? There we go, VNAV path. All right. I thought this was something was a little off. All right, let me... I'm gonna hold the altitude here. Yeah, we're definitely too low, but it looks like that was the setting. All right, we're just going to hold the altitude here. Until we pass Pepe, and then we'll go to 3,000. Yeah, I was kind of getting carried away a little bit there, but that's okay. All right, switch here to the outside. Look at this beautiful terrain here in New Zealand. V1 ticked me off in a bad way when the first betas of X-Plane 12 came out. Made me unsubscribe. Pilot Velam, hello my friend, welcome aboard. Welcome to the QA Pilot channel. Well, Alex, I'll tell you, maybe he got, you know, I mean, look, V1 is a nice guy. I mean, I like V1, and he's a friend of mine. He was part of the reason why I came back to YouTube, as a matter of fact. He's one of the people that encouraged me to come back. So I do like him quite a bit. He's very knowledgeable. He's very resourceful, and but yeah, I mean, forgive the content creators. Sometimes, you know, they'll say things, you know, it might tick you off. You might not agree with it, but it doesn't change the fact that he's a valuable resource in the community. And he's a real-world pilot as well, giving us real-world insight. He hasn't been creating a lot of content lately. Probably he's busy with work. You know, he's probably busy doing real-world flying. But yeah, I see where you guys can get ticked off from. I'll tell you what, you know, what I do not like sometimes. Some of the big channels, and I'm not going to mention them by name, but what I don't appreciate is the use of colorful language. That's something I just cannot. Oh, he moved again. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Would not stream it for a long time. Oh, I see. He just moved to a new location. Oh, I see. Guys, look at this beautiful view here. Wow, this looks beautiful. So yeah, I do not like colorful language. You know, swearing every other word. That's something I just do not like, to be very honest. I know some of the some of the channels I watch, they do use that. They do a lot of that, but that's when I say, all right, you know, time for me to, you know, go somewhere else and watch something else. So, oh, to Georgia. Me too, I'm an ex-Marine. Yeah, that I knew about you, Rand. He totally trashed XP. A lot of people did. I mean, don't hold that against him, Alex. A lot of people did for known reasons. And I wouldn't say that some of the reasons are not valid reasons. So they actually might be valid reasons for people to trash X-Plane. To me, they're not valid, but to them, they are valid. But he, even with the fact that he actually trashed X-Plane, he did stream X-Plane quite a bit after that, especially when the toolless A320 came out. He went from Texas to Georgia. I see. That's a big change. My ex was born in Georgia. Oh, I see. Former active duty, not ex, as you know, but yeah, Carl, absolutely. All right, let's take a look here, guys. Look at this. One of the things I like about MSFS is just how beautiful it looks. Look at that. Wow, this looks really nice. All right, let me come up here. Let's see. All right. So it looks like they're gonna come this way. And all right, I am going to go to our flight plan. And it looks like Isnox, and then Imrog, and then Oroso. So we can actually go fly direct to Imrog. How about that? We fly to Imrog. Clear. We can just leave it. Let's just leave it. That's fine. Let's take a look at our plan here. That's Imrog. Yeah, I think that's fine. 3,000. Perfect. Alright, we're still doing okay, so I'm going to leave it. There was actually a restriction here, so we're just going to leave the aircraft at the current speed and altitude. Look at how beautiful this is. Opinions vary on YouTube. It's not a perfect world, and if you don't like content, don't watch it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Is there a tutorial for this aircraft? There are many, yeah. Again, you can feel the turbulence here as we arrive into Auckland, and the weather around Auckland and Wellington are actually very severe, almost all the time. And by the way, on the YouTube community post where I asked you guys if you wanted to do this flight or the one in Colombia, I know a lot of people told me it's Colombia, C-O-L-O, not C-O-L-U. That's okay. I actually was hoping that you guys would pick the Colombian route for the flight, because I wanted to show you the airport. The departure airport is notoriously known for extreme crosswind, which makes takeoffs and landings near impossible. So it would have been a lot of fun to do that flight, and I've tested the takeoff there, and I'll tell you guys, it was a very challenging takeoff because of the enormous crosswind at that airport. But you guys have voted more votes. This route has received more votes, so I always like to fly and pick aircraft that you guys want me to fly. So hence we are flying today in New Zealand. Yeah, this looks really nice. Look at that. Here's a look at the beautiful props. Right, still looking good. Speed is good. And we are approaching answer. We need to be above 5,000, so we are not really following the restrictions today. You know, guys, one of the best general aviation aircraft for Microsoft Flight Simulator, an aircraft that is under constant updates, and it's really looking very good now, is the FlySimware Cessna Chancellor 414. Chancellor is just an excellent add-on under constant updates, development, improvements, and I highly recommend that aircraft if you like general aviation aircraft. For Microsoft Flight Simulator, that is a must-have in my view. The Cessna 414 Chancellor by FlySimware. Sim UK Reviews, good evening, my friend. Welcome. Glad to have you here with us. You're just in time for final approach and landing. In fact, we can do the approach checklist. Seat belts are on. Landing lights, we can turn, they are on, and we're going to turn on the taxi and takeoff lights as well. The altimeters are set and checked. Cabin altitude is checked, and the approach checklist is complete. And the last checklist we have is the landing checklist. You can see the crosswind here. You can see what the aircraft's doing. Terrain is just looks so nice. Is there a good tutorial for this aircraft? Well, if you look at my very first stream, it's got the startup procedure, but there is, I think, what's his name? NG Driver, I believe. NG Driver has a full set of tutorials for this aircraft, which I recommend you take a look at. This beautiful aircraft, I'm patiently waiting for the A2A and their AccuSim launch. I believe it's in beta. Sim UK Reviews, I cannot help but to drool when I see pictures of the A2A aircraft coming for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I'm really waiting to see how they overcome the flight model issues in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So there are a lot of issues, by the way, that used to be in FSX and in P3D, and they overcame those by, developing their AccuSim engine, which essentially gives the aircraft a completely different dimension in terms of flight model, and it makes it very realistic. In fact, probably one of the most realistic in flight simulation is the range of A2A aircraft. I love their products. They are highly entertaining, as well as they can be used for, practicing, your real-world skills. So I really like the A2A lineup of aircraft. I've enjoyed their products for FSX and prepared for many years. Unfortunately, both platforms are pretty much dead now, and so I really can't wait for their, for their very first aircraft to launch for the for Microsoft Flight Simulator. By the way, folks, our next flight, I will be doing some testing on the MD-80. I've had a lot of issues with it not respecting the autopilot in the first few flights that I've done. So I'm going to be doing a few tests just to make sure that it works okay. And if it works okay, then what I'll do is I will do a stream. Otherwise, we're going to go and take a look at the version 1.31 of the Dash 8 Q400. All right, so we are now going to reset the MCP altitude to 3,000 feet. And let's see here, VNAV path. It's going to want to 3,000. All right. So go to 3,000. Why is it climbing? All right, I'm going to switch to vertical speed. About 700 feet per minute. Let's ease off on the throttle. We're approaching Auckland, and now it looks like FSLTL is loading the aircraft. That's why you got those jitters. Takes a little bit of time to load everything, and then everything goes back to normal. All right. I think if we go to MROG, let me go to MROG, direct to MROG, execute. There we go. We're going to fly direct to MROG. And now we want to really start slowing down the aircraft. Let me reset my view. And before we forget, oh, come on. Let's record this flight. Let's record the approach. Let's see, we're going to call it ATR 2. Enter. And we are now recording. Excellent. We're going to level off at 3,000 feet. And I'm going to idle the power now to take our speed down. We're almost there now, folks. Hello, Duncan. How are you doing, my friend? I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking, my friend. And thank you very much for your support, your loyal support over the years, Duncan. I appreciate it, my friend. And just look at how beautiful this is, guys, as we approach Auckland. It just looks fantastic. All right, as we arrive here, I'm going to go ahead and set flaps. Flaps 15 are set, and this will take us down to 140 knots. And let me zoom in here a little bit. It's good. Excellent. Look at that. Screenshot material right there. Just beautiful. I mean, you can't really tell if this is real life or just, you know, if you take a screenshot, forget about that area, but this area here, it would be very difficult to tell it from, you know, a sim or real world. It looks really very, very realistic. It looks beautiful. You can see some AI there taking off from Auckland, but this is just really a beautiful view. Right, we're looking good. Just give it a little bit power here and hold at 140 and 3000. There are no clouds, so you know, visibility is very good, and considering we have 20 knot wind, you know, it would be, it's actually to our favor that there are no clouds today and visibility is clear as we arrive into our destination. It looks very real, Rand, yeah. A bit late to the stream, I'm at work and I was doing a Wizz Air turnaround. How do you find the ATR? I'm really tempted to buy it. Well, Duncan, I'll tell you what, if you buy the ATR, you will not regret it. That much I can tell you. I know that you will enjoy it very much. It's a very enjoyable aircraft, very reasonably priced as well. So definitely recommended. All right, here we are, and we are not too far from the airport now. All right, let me click here. We're going to set our heading. The approach course is was it 231? I think 231. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to go to approach. And the heading is 231. Right, heading is set to 231. Let's go to heading select. Approach. There we go, and that's the airport ahead of us now. Localizer captured. And we're going to go ahead and lower the landing gear. We are about 9 nautical miles from the airport. Look at that, folks. Wow. Very impressive. You can see the airport right ahead of us now. All right, and let's take a look here. Flaps are 15. So, not yet. Flaps 30. We can wait. All right, let's go to the normal procedures. And we're going to go to the before landing checklist. Cabin crew advised. Landing gear 3 green. Flaps are checked. Power management to takeoff. And TLU low speed is checked. Icing as required is not required, and the external lights are on, and the checklist is complete, and we are now lined up, as you can see here, with the runway. We are on the localizer and the glide slope. We're looking good. And 1,000 feet we will disconnect the autopilot hand fly, you can already tell there's a lot of turbulence and very strong wind here as we come into what a beautiful approach into Auckland. Look at that. Yeah, it does look very good, I have to say. Look at that, guys. Wow. I mean, this looks beautiful. Right, 2-3 left. We are clear to land. The view is definitely breathtaking. Alright, we'll ease off there on the throttle a little bit as we approach the runway, and let's go ahead and... Yeah, I know. Let's go ahead and slow down the aircraft. Guys, look at this view. Wow. It's just really, every time I fly in MSFS, I'm amazed at the scenery. The beautiful scenery is just really, wow, fantastic. Right, we're gonna watch the throttle here as we approach the airport. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the autopilot. My aircraft. It's complaining about the speed. Wow, the wind is so strong. I can see the runway. Visibility is not that great at the airport. That's, by the way, the sound of the trim. Wow, the wind is very, very strong. Holy moly.
Approaching decision height. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Auckland. That was some landing, huh? Yeah, it was definitely a very challenging landing into Auckland with the 20 knot wind here as we came into land. Right, let's retract our flaps. And by the way, the rendition of Auckland is also very beautiful by Flight Beam Studios. After landing checklist, we tracked the flaps, landing glass are off, and strobes are off. Busy airport. By the way, those stutters that you see, guys, is from FSLTL. As it starts loading and removing traffic from the scene, it starts, doing that stutter. I hope they fix that with time. But yeah, those stutters that you see is from FSLTL. And by the way, I have no clue where we can park this aircraft. So maybe we'll just come over here somewhere, and yeah, we'll park it somewhere here. Looks like there are some parking spots there by between maybe those two Air New Zealand Airbuses. Looks like an Airbus. Very nice rendition of the airport. The landing rate, this little guy is a widget for Flow Pro. Looks like there is a spot there. Yeah, that's definitely a spot here. Okay. We'll go ahead and park here. Between those two jets. By the way, if you click on it, it will show you exactly where you've landed. So yeah, a little bit in the touchdown zone, but a bit far. That's an ATR. So let's just give it a little more, and there we go. All right, I think that's about right. This is ATR. So ATR 300, and that's the ATR and the Q300. So we're fine. I think we're good. All right, excellent. So we are going to, before we turn off the engines, we're going to go ahead and do a replay so that, we see, and then we'll come back and Flow Pro. Yeah, Flow Pro by Parallel 42. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Let's go to stop that. So we're going to stop the recording now. And we're going to load the flight, which is ATR2. All right, so now it's loading. And we can now click on play. I know we've done this, so we're going to move it to right here, I think is good. And we can say play. And now we can go to the external view. It's still loading. Still loading the sim. Oof, look at that, guys. Look at the wind. Jeez. We'll do it again. We'll just give it some time to load. But that was some approach into Auckland. Look at the waves there. Tells you how strong the winds were as we came into land. Bit of a floater. And a bounce. But eventually we made it safely. With those conditions, you know, I'll say it's a pass. Alright, let's try it again here. What a lovely approach. Maybe this time we'll do it from this angle. Thank you, Rand. Ah, it was pretty cool, huh? Alright. We can do the following now. We can bring it all the way here. And then remove that. Alright. And we'll come to... So this is the after landing. So obviously we've done that. We're going to go to feather. Okay. And all of that is done. Right, we can turn these guys off. And let's see here. Radar, standby, flight controls are locked, flaps are 0, trims 3 reset, land strobe lights are off, anti-icing is off, probe heat is off. So all of that is off, okay. And TRU is off, okay. Procedure is complete. And then parking brake is engaged, taxi lights are off, CL2 to feather, beacon light is off, nav lights are off, and the transponder to standby. So let's come here and put the stand, alright, it's already on standby. Tail prop on position. Alright, so we're gonna come here, there we go, on position. And seat belt signs now can go off. All right, and we can now take this to cutoff, and we're going to put the ground power on and turn on the external power. Excellent. And now we can put the wheel chocks on, and we'll go ahead and open the cargo door, main door, and the service door. And there we go. And now we can get GSX to unload our passengers. So request deboarding.
Deboarding requested.
All right, there we go. And now we should begin deboarding. All right, here's the baggage loader, and we should see the passenger bus arriving
Passenger's
momentarily.
bus is coming.
All right, passenger bus is coming. Yeah. Very nice airport. By the way, Auckland Airport is truly a very nice airport. I highly recommend it. Again, you can get the links to both airports used in this stream by using exclamation scenery, and you'll get the links to both airports. Here's the passenger bus. Pretty big passenger bus for such small aircraft.
Passengers
All right.
deboarding starting.
Passengers are deboarding now, and that brings us pretty much to the conclusion of our stream today. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this stream as much as I enjoyed streaming it for you. And until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Stay safe, and bye-bye for now.